Were the Asgard androids? You'll find out right after this. Hey everybody, I'm Taylor and I'm the Stargate Guy, where I talk to you about everything and anything Stargate. This is the short version of a full live stream that happened this month. Live streams happen the first Sunday of every month at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. if I've slept in a little bit or, drank a little too much the night before. Anyway, I talk about the subject and then I read your guys' comments about it and I answer your guys' questions and then we do some general Q&A. So since this is the short version, the Q&A and even some of your guys' comments about the topic have been cut for the sake of time. So if you want to watch the full version, you can go ahead and click right here. Anyway, today, the crazy topic of the live stream is brought to you by you guys in the comment sections. On this channel, I have done several videos about the Asgard, including a profile, as well as several theories about whether or not the Asgard ascended, and if the Asgard are idiots. Bunch of different things about the Asgard. You can go check those out. Anyway, in each of those videos, I have noticed that you guys have asked the questions about why the Asgard did not download their minds into a more durable form, such as a, I don't know, an android or a robot or some kind of computer, so that they could live past the genetic defects that they form for themselves in cloning themselves again and again and again and again. Copy. Anyway, so let's talk about that. Oh hey, it's nice to see you again. Where was the oh, I'm doing this on my phone, so it's a little that comment popped up for just a couple of seconds. Now I don't see it anymore. Anyway, yo, what's up? Good to see you again. I saw the picture and I totally recognized you. But anyway, so Asgards and androids. Are the Asgards androids? Well, as we know, no, they're not. And if you think that I was dead serious about that title, then you're an idiot. But let's talk about why they're not androids. We do know that a very long time ago, hey Scott, a very long time ago, the Asgards decided to clone themselves as a way of basically living forever. It is kind of their version of ascension before they knew about the ancients and about the idea of ascension. The Asgard decided to clone themselves as a form of immortality. That is how we have Lieutenant Commander Thor be both a Norse god and yet a little gray dude that is still living. Their lifespans are not thousands of years, but when they do die, they basically download their brain into another body and they move on. So, with human or with bodies, especially with Asgard bodies, we do know that those come with limitations, with frailties. For example, we do get cut, even by paper, which can sting, as well as there are ailments. People get sick, and people die because our bodies are flesh and blood. The Asgard bodies themselves seem particularly weak. I mean, if you just look at these guys, they are tiny, they are frail. I mean, really, if you give them a hug, then you can kill them. Yeah, they are very frail guys. But we know that they were able to modify their bodies to meet their intellect. They were able to expand their skulls and craniums in order to give them more brain mass, so that they can increase their brain capacity and power as they learn more throughout the thousands of years that they existed. At least that is my theory as to why they kept changing the Asgard form. The body that was discovered to be in Asgard 30,000 years ago looked more human than Asgard. They were taller, the brain was smaller, and they're tiny because they only eat starbursts. That's probably accurate. But good way of looking at that. I like that. Hopefully that was starburst that Sam was eating. I don't know, it kind of looked like Play-Doh, but I'm getting off track here. The body of the 30,000-year-old Asgard basically kind of looked human, except the skull was bigger. But if you compare that to proportions of the modern-day Asgard, that skull was rather small. We do know that in our own, as well as in animal developments here on Earth, that growing brain matter takes a lot of energy and a lot of time in order to develop and in order to evolve. And there is the saying that humans only use 5% of their brains. That's not exactly true. In reality, humans use 5 to 10% of their brains at any one time. We do use all of our brain. We did not spend millions of years in order to evolve it to not use 95% of it total. Okay? So it would make sense that since there is a correlation between that and with all other species for the most part, as far as brain to body ratio, and there's a whole study all about that. And anyway, the only reason I learned about was biological anthropology. But anyway, we can therefore assume that with the Asgard, it is a very similar means of evolution. So, with the bodies, yes, they were able to adapt them in order to evolve as an Asgard species. But I theorize that in order to, that one of the reasons why they did not switch from their own bodies to an android, to a machine, thousands and thousands of years ago, even before they met the ancients, was simply because that would have taken away what it meant to be Asgard. Having a body, to answer your question, the background episode, this is season 3 finale, Nemesis part 1. So, or Nemesis. First episode of season 4 is not called Nemesis part 2, but anyway, Nemesis. Awesome episode. This is where we're introduced to the replicators, and we'll get to that part. Anyway, where was I? Crap. Where was I?
You were talking about...
You're not paying attention, are you?
You were talking about bodies and how valued...
Yes, bodies and how it's...
Yes!
That's right, that's right, that's right. Sorry, there's another person in the room here. We'll get to her later on if she desires. Anyway.
Another person.
Another person. Yeah, it's another person. You are another person. What are you talking about?
Well, you know I'm an
yes. What it means to be Asgard. That's where I was. Yes, what it means to be Asgard. So, a person's identity and a person's body can be very closely linked. We do know that human beings, for the vast majority, have certain characteristics, certain biological characteristics, and that is part of the definition of what it means to be human. And so even though we ourselves have thought about putting human brains into cyborgs, into androids, and putting them together with computers, which has only increased with the computer revolution. The idea has been around in sci-fi for the past 100 years, but with the advent of computers, it has really skyrocketed into, you know, the possibility and the reality of incorporating human brain and human consciousness in with machines. And part of the debate around that we are even seeing within the scientific community is that would change the definition of what it means to be human. And so if we, a very primitive forms who use bullets in order to kill things, projectiles by chemical reactions that is quite crude, and we are having these debates and having these discussions, it would make sense that a species that is way more developed than us, scientifically, would have this discussion as well. And so I would theorize that that played a role into why they did not become androids. Why did they not put their consciousness into a more long-lasting form than just a biological body. But they were able to change that body, like evolution does. Evolution changes bodies in any species to cope and to adapt and to, you know, help the being survive. The whole survival of the fittest thing. So they were just able to take that into their own hands and modify their bodies to best suit the evolution that they wanted to take with their species. Now, this would end up being their downfall, as we know, in that there ended up being some genetic defects, and in the end, they could not ascend at all. They were biologically incapable of it, and they were biologically incapable of continuing down the path much further, so much so that they had most of their species minds in a data bank just sitting there until they all, you know, spoiler alert, blow themselves up in a massive riding Halley's Comet out of here, if you get my drift. And meanwhile, screwing over all of humanity, but that's, you know, why the Asgards are idiots. Go watch that video after this one. So, we have here Basically, the first part is that it would change what the Asgard meant to be Asgard by changing into biological form, and that they were still able to modify their bodies to meet their evolution, which they took into their own hands. Later on, when they came in contact with their nemesis, the replicators, the replicators' MO is to go after the most advanced technology that they could. They are very much technologically based. And so to fight against a civilization like the Asgard that solely relies on technology is the reason why the Asgard were failing. Because you had a species that thrived and that sought after the most advanced tech and destroyed that and devoured that and added it to their collective consciousness. Kind of. Well, they do have a collecting consciousness. They're kind of like a weird version of the Borg, but anyway, that's getting into the whole Star Trek thing, and I don't talk about that on this channel. So, by putting their brains into an android-like body, that would mean that the replicators, instead of going after their tools, their ships, would go after the Asgard themselves. The Asgard would be the most advanced technology, or some of the most advanced technology in the civilization. So instead of the Asgard going after the ships and not really caring about killing off the Asgard, which they've been trying to prevent for thousands of years by cloning. Instead, you would have the replicators going after the Asgard themselves and going after their technology second, because they are their technology. Therefore, when they were coming in contact with the replicators, we don't even know exactly when that was, but it sounds like it's been going on for about 1,000 years, or if not more. That totally took that option off the table if they ever discussed it in their collective history. And we don't, the Asgard that we see in the show were probably some of the ones that had this debate thousands of years ago. Josh Hall, I wonder if the reason they appear dumb is because of their age. Well, partly. Going back to the whole "the Asgards are idiots" video, is that you do have a good point. As we do see in human beings, as they get older, they tend to get more stuck in their ways. They seem less open to change. And because of that, since change can be inevitable, and change can be very good as well as bad, then we as human beings tend to embrace change. That could be a reason why we perceive the Asgard to be complete idiots, because they do not perceive change anymore. I mean, take your grumpy old grandfather that's 90 years old who doesn't change at all, and times that by 10,000, and you have the average Asgard. They've been around for that long. So, yeah, that would make kind of sense. But we're getting off track again. So, the replicators would go after the Asgard themselves, and goodbye immortality, hello death, for the first time in thousands of years. So that would be another reason why they would not be able to turn into a more durable form, such as a computer or an android-like body. Now, somebody did bring up in the comment section of one of the previous videos about replicator bodies, about how the ancients, over 10,000 years ago, did develop replicators in the Pegasus galaxy that took human shape, and that they were able to create individual-looking replicators, and that these replicators did become sentient. If you want to debate about sentience, which at some point, I think I made a video about sentience. That might have been on the other channel, Beard vs. Geek, where I talked about the Lego movie. I need to talk about sentience on this channel. Yeah. Anyway, I keep getting off track on these things. See, this is what you get with the live videos. With my regular videos, you get to see only what I want you to see. You don't get to see the times in the videos where I scratch my nose, or where, I cough, or I get distracted by a bunch of different things because I love squirrels. You don't see that. But now you do. It's great, isn't it? Fun. It's amazing we didn't have the internet a long time ago because, reasons. I'm getting off track again. What am I talking about? Oh, Asgard. Yes. Plus, I'm getting distracted by watching the episode here. I love this episode. Oh, that just went dark. And that just went dark, too. Thor's dying. Sorry. Anyway, there it goes again. Oh, yes. So somebody brought up the replicators that the ancients developed in the Pegasus galaxy and said, well, what about the option of having these replicators modify them to take the form of Asgard bodies? And then you can simply download the consciousness of that Asgard, such as Thor, or such as another person, Loki, Odin, whatever, into these essentially replicator bodies of Asgard in order to have them more reliable and be able to modify themselves at any time in order to accomplish an objective. To that, I say, same reasons as before. It would completely change the definition of being Asgard. It would completely change their way of thinking. And they would be very susceptible to the replicators when they did come about over 1,000, between 1,000 and 10,000 years ago, however long it's been. We don't really know for sure. And if we do, I don't remember it off the top of my head. Plus, the Asgard did not have access to that technology and to that ability and thought. The Asgard knew that the ancients took off from the Milky Way galaxy because of a plague, and they kind of knew that, or that they kind of knew that they went to the Pegasus galaxy. That's why you had some Asgard break off from the main body and go to the Pegasus galaxy to kind of check out to see what the humans were doing, and or what the ancients, Alterans were doing, whatever you want to call them, the ancients in that galaxy, and do their own research about their own cloning issue. But the whole Great Alliance probably dissolved long before then. And since they developed the replicators in Atlantis, and after they came back to the Milky Way galaxy, the ancients basically set themselves up to drift off into the night. Some of them ended up mating with humans. Some of them, that's how we got the ancient gene. Some of them ended up learning to ascend and left mementos of their consciousness and of their wisdom across the Milky Way galaxy, hoping that later versions of themselves, later developments of humans, later species can learn about their knowledge. And that's why we have those the ancient depository of knowledge were Gould proof, because the Gould were around by the time the ancients came back from Atlantis, and they wanted to safeguard that knowledge away from the Gould since they're, assholes. And so they probably didn't have any contact with the Asgard, because it's been 10,000 years since they were in contact with them. And if they did, it was probably hey, what's up? We're basically going to kill ourselves off and go gently into the night. Peace. So they didn't have access to that technology until the episode The Fifth Race, where they downloaded it out of Jack O'Neill's brain. Then, theoretically, they would have had the knowledge in order to do that. But by then, the replicators were becoming a threat. They were going after the most advanced technology. It wouldn't have done them any good as well. See the previous 7 minutes of why the Asgard can't become androids after they met the replicators. Anyway, so for those main three reasons is why I state that the Asgard were not able to put their minds into a more durable form, such as an android, even though we do know that other species were able to do that. Harlan, for example, we know is an android, and that his humanoid-like species was able to put their brains into android bodies. But even then, they were not immortal. And the Asgard want to be immortal. They want to preserve their consciousness on forever. That's why they got cloning in the first place. And they didn't really know about the human species. They didn't have any contact with them. So they didn't even have access to that technology. Anyway. So that's basically my thoughts on it. I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think about this? Should have the Asgard put themselves into animatronic bodies? Should they put themselves into replicator bodies? Replicators, not the block guys that you see in this episode, but human form type replicators. Or should, would it have been better for them to continue on in their biological form and then just work on their genetic makeup and have that master copy, or whatever reasons that I brought up in the Asgard or Idiots video? as to why they kind of screwed themselves in the long run. So let me know. I'm going to, start looking at the comments here that pop up. And if you for sure want me to talk about your comment, you can also do a wonderful super chat where you would donate a dollar or however much you want to this channel to help it keep it going, which is always freaking appreciated. Hi SGG, I'm part of the Stargate RPG, and we're going against Gold, who are being Roman gods as far as... No, wait, come back. No, the comment left. How did I see the comments on this thing? Top chat. Hi, all chat messages, super chat, live chat. All messages are visible. I'll start. I'm thinking Android as long as they don't have to say come try ya. What's wrong with saying come try ya? It's like aloha. It's awesome. Come try ya. I mean, come on. It's great. Why wouldn't they say come try ya? Of course, with the Asgard, it'd be all like boring and, snooty. It'd be come try ya. That's all the enthusiasm they can muster. And with the Asgard bodies, these guys don't even have the ability to really get excited anymore. We do know from Stargate Atlantis that they don't even have adrenal glands. So they can't feel the rush and the excitement. They can't have an adrenaline rush from creating something awesome or doing something amazing. Jackson Heathen, I hate the Comtria guy. Dude, what's up with Harlan? Why do you hate Harlan? Harlan is freaking awesome. Corin, should I repeat the question? Yeah, Corin, if you could please repeat the question, that'd be great, because I don't know how to look at the entire chat on this phone. They just keep popping up. You do realize I can now use the ringtone? Sure. Instead of committing suicide, they should have them be shelved onto long-term storage like the ancients could freeze people. Well, they did have them shelved in long-term storage, but then again, you leave yourself to the mercy of whatever species comes along and takes them out of long-term storage or abuses them while their minds are in long-term storage. So it's better to just, take away the possibility of being abused and used by a different species by blowing yourself up while you're in long-term care storage. Long-term care storage? That sounds weird. Long-term storage. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. The person who knows nothing about, or very little about Stargate, just agreed with me. So, I'm apparently on the right track.
Still logical.
Can the Wraith eat Asgard? No. No. I would theorize that Wraith cannot eat Asgard. If you watch my video about about the Wraith feeding mechanism and how that works, one of the things in there is that since the Wraith, or in the comment section, because I was stupid and I didn't bring it up during the video, is that since the Wraith are part human themselves, that the compatibility between their own body enzymes and their own blood cells and all that stuff is mostly compatible with human blood cells, enzymes, and all that jazz. So that is why the Wraith solely feed off of humans and not other things like deer, cows, Asgard, whatever, is because they're totally incompatible species. I theorize that if they were to feed off of a cow, for example, then they would get not only the water out of that cow, like I was talking about in that video, but all of the enzymes, all of the proteins, all of the nutrients that are cow and absorbed into their own body, their own DNA. So it wouldn't be compatible. They kill themselves. So with Asgard, no. I wondered if the... I didn't catch all of that, but basically the Asgard and the Matrix or something there. Because, okay, fighting a Roman god Gold, very few of the series I thought... no, come back! I did not fully catch it. Yeah, if I had like another phone or something and I was viewing it as a regular person, I could see exactly what people are writing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway, sorry dude, I didn't catch that again, but we're getting another device so I can actually read comments for longer than the 2 seconds that they're up on my screen. But yes, so somebody commented something along the lines of the Asgard long-term mind storage, if that's how the Matrix got started. You know, odds are that the Asgard would devise some ways in order to keep their minds occupied and busy. So having a virtual reality environment for their minds to grow and to develop, and while they're in long-term storage, was totally feasible. Guys, this has been awesome to do the live stream with you. Live streams happen the first Sunday of every month at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here in the U.S. So that'd be roughly noon or 1 on the East Coast, and 9, 10, 11, 12, 6 o'clock, 6, 7 o'clock in the UK. Add an hour for Germany. And I'm not even going to calculate Australia. Middle of the night for Australia. Anyway, guys, glad you joined me here on this awesome live stream. Thank you so much to you, the guys that did super chats. You are the ones that really helped us to keep going financially, and all of you guys help this channel to keep going totally. Like, it's incredible. Yeah, it's because of you guys that we're able to do this. And Nathaniel, dude, Nathaniel, you need to stop. Nathaniel, thanks, dude. Like, you're awesome, really. Thank you again. Who donated another $10. You're awesome. So guys, that's it for today. And be sure to check out the other Asgard videos and let me know what you think. And you can leave comments down below and let me know what you would like to have me talk about in the next live stream. Until next time, I'll see you on the other side.